Good morning, everyone. We're going to do this very beautiful scene of sunlight coming through the woods and hitting the snow. It's just a very beautiful scene with beautiful light and so forth. So let's start with that very dark color in the background, ultramarine and quinceanea, and not too much water here. Keep it nice and opaque. We'll start, and what you're doing here is working around the light. We want to, in a sense, describe that shape of the beautiful light coming through the trees, okay? And it's just a very dark black. And you can push that black, obviously, as we always do, towards the quinceanea or the ultramarine blue, whichever you like, or keep it, you don't want it to be solid, cold black. All right, so we're working on shaping that. And there's the shape of the light hitting the trees. Squint down and look at that light, and that's what you're looking at. Okay, I'm going to give you a close-up here of that. Again, we're working in, you can see, very dry brush here. Working the edges first. You want to get rid of those hard edges. And look at the photo if you can, and you're sort of skimming around on that paper to create that sense of the light coming through the trees. And it really helps to get rid of those hard edges and look at that shape. All right, so down, there's another piece down below, as you can see, where the light is coming in. All right, so we're going to mix up some shade here now. This is a shadow color of the light hitting the snow and all that shade in the background there. It's very beautiful. All right, we'll start in the back, and that's just as I said, the shadow color. It's ultramarine. You can put a little drop of rose in there, whatever you like. Unfortunately, I missed the light. See the light in the background on the right, way in the back. You want to leave some little pieces of light back there if you can. I'll do it. I'll add some gouache to it later. All right. This is the shadow of that tree, the very important trees. There's a couple of big trees in the front that are warmer, and they're casting a beautiful shade across the snow here. But this is, if you look at this squint down, this gives you a look at that whole scene and the shadow, how it's hitting that. So I'm putting the shadow of that tree here on the snow, and you paint the shadow and then pay careful attention to the edges. You really want soft edges on these shadows. So what I'm doing is just taking some water and running a strip of water on the edge, adding some different colors. If you add different shades of blue on snow, it really works well to indicate, ups and downs on the snow, where you have these bumps and lumps and all these different movements in the snow. What I'm painting here are there's a couple of big boulders there, and I'm painting the shadow on the boulders. We're going to go back and put the darks in later on, and that will really identify those boulders. But if you look at that whole scene right now, try to look at the whole thing, and now you have, it's funny because it almost looks like the sky coming through that dark. And it really is, except that we're going to block it with the tree and the leaves. All right, I'm adding just a drop of raw sienna there to make that gray. That's a very important piece right there. That piece of white in the crux of that shadow, that's really important because that's where the light is hitting as it comes through the trees. See that piece of light there? Really important. There's the trees again. Look at that shape. We're going to work that even more. Now we're going to the interior. We did the edges, and I'm going to give you a real detail here, what I'm doing. Just very dry brush almost, but going to the, really shaping the interiors there of that big light. And we're going to put some color in that later on. Okay, so it's really important to get that shape right, and then we'll add the color. Take your time. Little pinholes of color and little pinholes of dark coming through those trees. It's a really important part of this painting, so take your time with it. Enjoy it. This is, step back and look at it every once in a while, okay? And you'll appreciate exactly what you're doing there. All right. All right, so there's the whole thing. We're backing up now. We're going to add a little color to it. Now, if you mix yellow with black, you'll end up with a greenish color. So I'm just picking up a little yellow here. And what I'm just placing it, but what I'm going to do is rub that black. There you go. I'm going to rub the black into the yellow. That will give you a nice greenish tone. That's all we want. And then, but save some of the little pinholes of light, of the white paper. That's really important. We'll go back with some gouache on that later on. All right, let's move on. We're going to put the trees in now. We're going to build a forest. This is just the same black, same dark color of ultramarine and quinsiena, and just make trees. As always, when you're doing a forest of trees, always what's important: the shape of the trees, the width of the trees, the direction that they're growing. Sometimes we have a tendency to go up and down, but sometimes they're crooked and they have bumps and lumps all over them. This is the main tree in the middle there. That's really important. So mix up that black, but as it hits the light, you can see that piece of light there. It's really important where the light is hitting that tree and it's causing it to be a little bit lighter. There's another really important tree here on the right that's in front of the other one. So that starts to give you some depth in your painting. So you get this tree in the front, and then they gradually go back to those smaller trees in the back. And you have some trees that have fallen on the ground. It's all about this little stuff now, making these little pieces of light and dark in the back, and the different trees and branches, the way they're growing. And this is the boulders I was talking about earlier. We painted the shadow. Now we're just indicating just pieces of the rock, the stones underneath that snow. And there's one, and here's the other one. And then we're going to add a little shadow to that to emphasize it. So now it's all just fun. We get the hard part done. It's just doing these little details, and you don't have to be really picky and worry about doing them exact. This is, you're in the middle of the woods. The snow is falling. There's trees and branches and rocks under the snow, and it's causing lumps and bumps in the snow, which causing a lot of shadows here and there. So take your time with it and develop it, and you'll see. It really will be fun. Right, there's the shadows on the snow, and there's a group of rocks here right in the shadow, and I'm just putting some darks. It's sort of in a circular shape there. Okay. Yeah, just take your time with it. Bumps and trees and branches sticking out here and there. All right, I'm going back here. I'm doing the dark first, putting these little pinholes in this shaping, doing more shaping of that light, closing in. When you look at it, it's amazing how little light is coming through that, but it's those darks around it that are making it pop. I mean, so enjoy that. It's really, it's a great little painting to do. I hope you enjoyed it. There's the finished painting. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again very soon.